All right, so the Toyota Corolla sedan has been one of the best-selling compact sedans in America for the past few years. And today I have the 2020 Toyota Corolla to review for you guys. We're gonna check out every single thing about this car. We're gonna look at the exterior, the interior, take it for a drive, and then I'll even show you guys what this thing looks like at night because it looks really cool. Let's go ahead and get started. Alright guys, so here's the 2020 Corolla sedan. Now first of all, I think this thing looks fantastic. I love this blue. This is called Blueprint, and this is basically like a really metallic navy. It has hints of purple in it, and it really does a great job at making this car look really high quality. Love the paint, love the metallic flake. It all looks fantastic, especially in the sunlight. You can really see all of that metallic flake in the car. Now, coming to the front of the Corolla sedan, one thing you guys are going to notice is that this is specific to the sedan. This and the hatchback do have two distinct looks, which I do appreciate. And it reminds me a lot of the Mazda 3 sedan and the Mazda 3 hatchback. They kind of went with that same recipe. But here on the sedan, I think I like the front end styling of this a little bit more. It looks really aggressive, really just in your face. I like it a lot. Love this honeycomb grille down here, looks fantastic. And you do have these here, which I thought would be daytime running lights, but they're not. They only come on at night. Your daytime running light is just going to be your headlight turned on, which is a real shame for me. I don't know why a lot of manufacturers are doing that. I wish it would just have the night lights as the daytime running lights. So this does have all of your cool looking lights, which only come on at night. Once again, huge shame, because it would be really cool for everyone to see that during the day. But full LEDs on here, well, almost full LEDs. Your turn signals are not going to be LEDs, so your turn signals in the front, your turn signals in the mirrors, and your turn signals in the back, none of those are going to be LEDs. But like I said, the front does look great. The hood looks fantastic. You have these lines that are gonna come right up here, and I do think that looks very good. Now coming to the wheels, you have these 18-inch wheels right here, and they look great. Love the way they look. Give you guys a little bit closer look at them. And it gives the side profile of the sedan, of course, a unique look. And I think compared to a lot of other vehicles in the class, Toyota does a great job with wheel design. I love this wheel design. I loved the wheel design on the hatchback version. It looks really great. And then as you come up, you're gonna have some nice character lines that are gonna flow all the way down the side of the car. Moving towards the back, I love this angle right here. Once again, because it is the sedan, you either love the sedan or you love the hatchback. Personally, I think both look great, but the sedan does have a lot sportier of an appearance to me. It almost reminds me of an Elantra Sport in a lot of ways, especially when you come back here. You've got this little mini diffuser, and then you've got these dual exhaust tips back here. Now finishing off a few more touches here in the back. Now the lights back here don't really have any LED design elements to them. Once again, I think that's a shame, especially considering the price of this car. So if I didn't mention it already, this car is about $29,000. I have the MSRP right here on the screen so you guys can take a look at it. So that's kind of a lot of money for not getting LEDs here in the back, but the actual design element of it looks great. You've got this little spoiler here, XSE badge right over there. All right, so here's the key for the Toyota Corolla. Basically the same as every current Toyota key, just says Corolla there on the back. And you turn around, you have your lock, your unlock, your trunk release, and then your panic right there. And it's all finished off in, you got some matte plastic, matte black plastic, and then some gloss black here in the back. So of course you can use the key to get into the car, unlock it with this. But if you come to the door, you are going to have this little ribbed pattern here. You put your thumb there, that's gonna lock it, and there's a touch pad behind the door handle, and that's gonna unlock the car. All right, so once we open the door of the Corolla sedan, a lot of it's gonna look the same as the hatchback, but for those of you who have not seen the hatchback, starting at the door, you're going to have this aluminum accent piece that's gonna run right from the top down here. You have some piano black right below that. There's a spider crawling right there. And then you're gonna have some blue stitching right here. You've got some really soft padded leather right there, or probably fake leather, pleather, but it does feel really, really nice, so I will give Toyota that. Then you have some soft touch up here with this really nice accent that's going to be sort of molded into this plastic here. And then you've got some molded stitching coming right there as well. So it's a pretty decent looking door. Of course, your door handle here, which I will admit feels very, very plasticky, feels very on the cheap side. That's really just a small complaint, but I had to put it into this review because the past 7 days I've had it, that's one thing I was just like really taken back by. I was like, man, that does not feel very high quality. When you come to the buttons though, unfortunately they don't have anything on them that makes them illuminate at night, so you can't really see them aside from this button has one thin strip of lighting right there. You are going to have your door locks, your window locks, and then your mirror controls right there, as well as cubby space down there, which is pretty on the narrow side, but you can still fit a bottle of water right there. Corolla branded floor mats. Then as you come to the seat design, this is very unique. You have this sort of bumpy leather here. So I thought it was fabric at first, but it's definitely going to be leather or pleather, because I know Toyota sometimes doesn't use real leather. And then you've got this interesting blue pattern that's going to go all the way up the middle of the seat. Then as you come up, you're going to have some blue stitching on the outside of the seat, if you guys can see that right there. So really interesting seat design, and of course here on the side you're going to have all your controls, your lumbar support, all that good stuff, and then right down here you have your trunk release and your gas tank release. Then as you come up, over here off to the side, you are going to have your automatic high beams and your interior lighting controls there. But let's go ahead, hop in, and we will check out the rest of the car. All right, so shutting the door on the Corolla sedan. Pretty good shut. All right, and here's a quick look inside the cabin before I start the car. Now, once you do have the key on the interior, start button's going to be right there. Foot on the brake. You're going to push that to start. Simple as that. Now, looking at the steering wheel, very decent design. So you do have a 3-spoke design. You are going to have this almost plastic piece. Well, it is a plastic piece. It's designed to look like aluminum, but it's going to go around the steering wheel. I do like the way that looks. You have your Toyota badge here in the middle. Off to the left, you are going to have your controls to adjust the screen here in the middle. You also have your back button, your phone commands, voice commands, volume commands. Over here to the right, you have your cruise control settings. You do have adaptive cruise on this XSE trim, and you're also going to have your previous next for your media and your different modes like AM, FM, XM, things like that. Now, I will get to this in just a second, but I did want to point out you also have paddle shifters here on the back, your upshift, and then your downshift. Now, it is a CVT, and I'll talk more about that in its proper portion of the video. Now, coming behind here, you're going to have your wipers. You don't have automatic wipers, which I am surprised to see. And then over here to the left, you are going to have automatic lights, which I'm not surprised to see. I would be surprised if it didn't have automatic lights. Now, going back to these buttons here. So you use it to control your screen here in the middle, which is going to be your speedometer here. You're going to have your tack over to the left, fuel right there, and then you're going to have your water temperature right there. So one thing I do want to point out, so let me come in a little bit here, is, well, first of all, I'm low on fuel. And this screen is very easy to operate. So if I push the down arrow, it's going to take me through all of my economical settings. Over here, you have different things like car information. You're going to have music. You're going to have trip monitors and just all kinds of different settings you can adjust. And it's really, really simplistic, and there's almost no learning curve to it. It's very easy, and all the information you need is right here, and really not much more. So it's not overwhelming, it's just nice ease of use, and I do like that. Now, coming back over here, you're going to have this plastic piece, which once again is supposed to look like aluminum, but in person you can definitely tell it's plastic. Right above that, you have some soft touch material right up here with blue stitching. And I do actually really like these windows here. So you can see quite a bit right there. And I do like the visibility out of this car. It's fantastic. And it does a great job of providing a really nice, just open, airy feel to it. So I did just want to mention that. And then over here, you're going to have your speakers for your JBL audio. So you have your tweeter there, you have a speaker right there, and then the same thing on the other side right over here. Now, zooming back out, you're going to have your screen right here. This is going to control almost everything else in the vehicle, and it is okay. It sticks up pretty high, so if you're not a fan of the tablet style screens, this is one of the most tablet style screens I have seen. It's just right there in your face, very, very close to you, but the benefit is it's pretty easy to reach, very easy to operate. It's Toyota's newest system. It does have Apple CarPlay. You do not have Android Auto on here, but it does a pretty decent job just with this system as it is. And the graphics could be a little bit better. Everything seems really like cartoony, but for the most part it really does the job and gets done what you need it to get done. Now, coming up here to the dash, I do like this piece, how it kind of folds, comes all the way through the tablet right here. And then you've got this dash, which has this really nice contrast stitching, this layered look to it, and I really like that. Vents here. You don't have dual zone climate control, which I'm very surprised to see. You just have one zone here, and you obviously control it through here. As you come down, you are going to have heated seats for both driver and passenger, as well as a wireless charging pad, and you can probably see the little bit of ambient lighting there. So the cabin does look pretty good at night, I will admit that. You don't have ambient lighting anywhere else throughout the cabin, but you do have a little blue light that'll come underneath here. You have a USB right over here, which is kind of a random spot to put it, but you do have that there. And then you have your sport mode and your traction control right back here. And of course, all this area is going to be piano black with a little bit of soft touch material here. Shifter feels good. Manual mode over to the left. Back into drive. Reverse will pull up your backup camera. And it does have guidance signs, but they don't adjust with the steering wheel, which I'm also surprised to see. I'm almost questioning what Toyota's been doing. Then as you come back, you're going to have your electronic parking brake, which does turn on when you put it into park. So for example, put it into drive. You guys can see it's off. Now it's back on. Automatic brake hold right here. Then you're going to have your cup holders, which do a great job of fitting drinks. So I can fit a pretty decent sized bottle of water in here, and it does a great job. Now coming back, you're going to have your armrest, which is pretty on the small side. So my arm takes up literally all of it, if you guys can see here. So yeah, won't be sharing that with anyone. USB in here, 12 volt, and then 2 pass-throughs for your cords and a decent amount of storage space. You do have a glove box right down here. It's not going to be lockable, but you have that there. You also don't have an auto dimming mirror here in the middle. Lights, not going to be LEDs, just your normal lights right there. And you do have a moonroof right up here, which does a great job of letting in natural light, especially today. It's a beautiful, beautiful day. And then your vanity mirror right here. That's pretty much going to be it for the front seat, guys. Let's go ahead and hop in the back seat and we'll check out the room. All right, so getting into the back seat of the Corolla. Now, first thing I do notice is my headroom is not very great. The seat itself sits really high, which is interesting. So you feel like you're sitting a lot higher in the car than you are in the front seat. So because of that, if it weren't for this hump right here, my head would not fit. So if it weren't for this hump, I would literally be like this. And this is extremely uncomfortable. Feels very unsafe right here as well. But of course you have this dent, which is great. It gives you a little bit of extra headroom, but I'm 6 feet tall. Sitting behind myself, I have about 1.5 inches of knee room, which is okay. But yeah, my headroom definitely is not great. I have to put my head all the way against the headrest to feel like my head's not being squished up against the roof. And I'm not kidding you guys, I wish this seat could go down more. I don't know why it sits so high. Now, other than that, your little hump here in the middle is very low. So if you had a real short third person here in the middle, you could sit them here and it wouldn't be too bad. You don't have vents back here. You do have an armrest, which has your cup holders right there. You're going to have a grab handle here with a little hook that's going to be for dry cleaning, and you have one mat pocket behind the passenger seat as well. Now, as far as my feet room goes, I can slide my feet underneath here easily, no issues there. And then of course shutting the door, nice door shut quality. The armrest is real soft to the touch, which is great. So you don't lose that going to the back seat. You don't get a full hard plastic door. You still have some semi-soft touch materials on here as well. But the back seat is just a pretty decent place to be. There's nothing too special about back here. If you are above 6 feet tall, you're not gonna fit back here comfortably at all. And even if you are 6 feet, like you guys are seeing right now, it's just not the most comfortable place to be. And really it's just because of these seats. If these seats were to sit lower, or if these were like bucket style seats, it would be a lot more comfortable, but it just sits way too high. But let's go ahead and see what's in the trunk. All right, so coming to the trunk of the 2020 Corolla, very easy to get in. Right underneath the badge, you're gonna have a button. You push that and the trunk's gonna open, very simple. So once you're in here, you have a very wide opening, which is great. You've got this nice Toyota Corolla mat, which looks really good. And then of course you can fold the seats down. So if I go right back here, there's a button on top of the seat. You're gonna push that and the seats are gonna fold down. So that is very, very easy. And then of course under the mat, so if you look here under the floor, you lift that up, you're gonna have all of your jack assembly equipment to fix your spare if you do have a flat. And then underneath that, you are going to have your spare underneath there, if you guys can see that. So pretty practical storage area, pretty decent for the class. And you do have your escape release right here in case you try to lock someone in your trunk. So let's go ahead and see what's under the hood of this thing. All right, so coming into the hood of the 2020 Corolla. Now we do have the XSE version, so that means we get the 2-liter 4-cylinder. This one is gonna make 169 horsepower, 151 pound-feet of torque. Now this is hooked up to a CVT going through the front wheels, and because it is a CVT, that means you get great fuel economy. So you're talking 31 in the city, 38 on the highway. Now one interesting thing with this CVT is when it shifts from first gear to second gear, that's a real gear change. And then second all the way to 8, because it has 8 simulated gears, or technically 7 simulated gears. So second all the way to 8 is gonna be fake. So it's just gonna be computer generated shifts. But the interesting part, if you guys have seen my review on the hatchback version, it feels pretty realistic, and you guys will see that in just a second. Like I said, going to the front wheels only, so all-wheel drive is not an option, unlike something like, let's say, the new Mazda 3, which does have all-wheel drive as an option. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this on the road, and we're gonna see how this drives. All right, you guys, so driving the 2020 Toyota Corolla sedan. Now, if you have seen my review on the hatchback version, you can click the link in my description to watch that if you wanna see the differences between the two. Dynamically, this drives exactly the same as the hatchback. So if you have seen that review, you guys sort of know what to expect. If you have not seen that review and this is your first time hearing about the 2020 Corolla at all, this has a pretty good feel to it. Now, giving it a little toss back and forth, first thing you'll realize is the back end is very, very light on this car. It really just follows the front wheels and what they're doing, which is great. And that's really what you want in a front wheel drive car, just because it gives you that good sense of the car's doing what you want it to do and that it's going exactly where you want it to go. So it kind of helps improve that just a little bit. Ergonomics, of course, are great because it's a Toyota and they're really good at that. So everything is within reach. I don't have to stretch my arms super far to reach this screen right here. And of course, you guys can see I have Apple CarPlay hooked up. Visibility is fantastic. Big mirrors, love these big windows, big windshield, big window there in the back, decent sized mirror, and really not a ton of blind spots. So it's a great and well laid out vehicle when it comes to everyday driving. And of course, it's a Corolla. That's what it's always been. That's one reason people love this vehicle so much. Now, another thing I do want to point out is that lack of storage space. You really notice it when you live with this car for a week, especially if you have things like keys and stuff, and you just want to throw them places. If I throw something up here, there's a good chance that it always falls out. If I put something in here, I got to constantly listen to it rattle around right next to me because it's in the cup holder. And yeah, I'm just not sure. I mean, unless you just want to stuff your door bin, but the door bins are actually pretty narrow and you can't fit a ton in there. So that is one thing that I was also surprised by. This is a very, very small door bin. Other than that, it's pretty good. I love the JBL sound system on here. It sounds fantastic. Now let's talk about this engine and transmission. So this does have the 2-liter 4-cylinder, 169 horsepower, 151 pound-feet of torque, which may not sound like a lot. That's because it's really not a lot. But that's what helps it get the great fuel economy. 31 city, 38 highway. And with the CVT, they did engineer it differently here with the Corolla. So they have a starting gear in this vehicle. So first gear is a real gear, and then what it does is it shifts into, let's call it CVT mode for right now. So second through eighth, because this has 7 simulated gears, 1 real gear. So second through eighth gear is going to basically be 100% fake shifting, and then shifting in a second is real. So let me just show you guys instead of just talking about it. So we're in first gear right now, right? So listen to how this sounds when I shift. So that's a real gear change. Now above that, I'm mid-corner here, so let's go ahead and hold it in the second gear. It does handle pretty well. The tires don't have a ton of grip, but it will take a corner at a decent speed. Now shifting from second to third, listen to this difference and listen how fast it is. Not sure if you can hear it. You probably heard me clicking the paddles more than you did the CVT doing its thing. But if you guys can possibly see this little RPM gauge right here, watch when I downshift. It's really, really quick. And we're already in 6th gear. So it is interesting for sure. The benefit is obviously that with CVTs, they're designed to keep you at the height of your RPMs. So the way it would work, it's almost, think of it as almost like a rubber band stretching. And it would, if I were to floor this with a normal CVT, just a traditional CVT, it would hold me at 6,000 RPM, basically holding me right at 169 horsepower and just keeping me there. That's good for acceleration and stuff. It really gets you up there and it holds you there. The bad thing is you have CVT whine, and then on top of that you have the engine, which is just making tons and tons of noise at a real consistent tone, and it just is the worst thing to hear, especially in this Corolla, because this engine is extremely loud, as you guys probably heard. So if I floor it right now, that's a loud engine, and I'm not going that fast, guys. I'm not going fast at all. So there is that. There's a good amount of tire noise coming in, more so than I remember from the hatchback, but it has been a while since I have driven the hatchback, so you know, maybe I'm just noticing things I didn't notice in that vehicle. So there is that, and yeah, it just it does take the dullness out of the CVT, I will say that. So shifting it and everything is semi-fun. It's still nowhere near as good as a normal transmission, however. But you guys can be the deciding factor on whether or not you are okay with something like that. Me personally, I don't care either way. And if it's a good mix between not being But yeah, just let me know what you guys think about this whole transmission situation. Comment below. Do you think this is like a deal breaker? Does it matter? Do you like it? Let me know in the comments, because I'm really curious what you guys think about this. Now, compared to a lot of the competition, let's say the Kia Forte, Mazda 3, you got the Honda Civic, what would you guys pick over this Corolla, or would you pick anything over this Corolla? Would you pick this Corolla over everything else? Has what you've seen been enough to sway you to make it so that this is the best sedan or the best car in the compact class? Well, you guys, I hope y'all enjoyed this review of the 2020 Corolla sedan. Like I said, comment below. I want to hear everything you guys think about this car. See you guys next review. Y'all take care. Bye.